Why, yes, I did make this intro. Thank you for noticing. It sucks. Fuck you. ColossalisCrazy has an interesting place in the commentary community. He's debatably the most respected commentator on the platform, depending on what you classify as commentary, but why is that? Sure, he makes very good videos, but outside of his FouseyTube video, I'd struggle to call them excellent personally. And yes, he does seem to be quite a funny and easy to get along with person from the interactions that we've seen of him, but does that equate to such an elevated standing of him being, in the words of Wild Spartans, a YouTube god?
Let's look at ColossalisCrazy, for example. ColossalisCrazy, I'm going to refer to him as Clown. Clown is pretty much, as well, a YouTube god. He's pretty much immune to criticism.
Also, before we get into this, let me say that I'm not making this video to criticize Colossal. I already took a crack at that a few months back to the best of my ability. This is being made to give context to the question of, is Colossal overrated? Because you can disagree with me on the premise, but from the amount of content that he's produced and the overall quality of it, personally, I think that it's a valid question. So first, let me establish the claim of him being overrated. I'm not making this claim towards anything other than the actual level of respect that people seem to have for him in the commentary community as compared to other commentators. Taking no fuckers, for example, if you were to ask the majority of people in the community who was the more respectable of the two commentators, I think 9 times out of 10 people would say Colossal, even though No Fuckers has more subscribers. So I'm not saying that Colossal is overrated in the sense that he doesn't deserve the amount of success that he has, view-wise or subscriber-wise, because in the grand scheme of things, Blasphemous HD TV has over 2 million subscribers, so calling Colossal overrated on that front would basically be me saying that he deserves less than 1/4 of the subscriber base of Blasphemous HD TV, which is obviously a pretty ridiculous accusation. But basically, what I want to talk about is why I think he has this elevated standing in the community, as opposed to someone like Eldest the Alien, who makes similar types of videos to Colossal's, where he's criticizing another YouTuber. And basically, I think this difference exists for 3 main reasons. Number 1, Colossal's videos are very good, especially for the commentary community. Number 2, his appearance on Baited, and number 3, his relationship to other commentators and their perceptions or portrayals of him. Starting first with his content, as I've said, he makes very good videos. They are very limited in number, but they are all of quality. And I think that's because he chooses his targets well, offers valid points against them, takes his time, and as I said, he's a pretty funny guy. But what exactly do I mean by that? Well, the first 2 points kind of go hand in hand. It seems like targets for Colossal are generally YouTubers who are doing something scummy that goes deeper than just a superficial dislike of their content or distaste for their clickbaiting. And I'm specifically talking about these 5 videos because I would argue that they're the basis of his content. The Basherverse video is debatable since his main point is that their content is being over-sexualized, and it's an issue due to how Basher initially got his fan base, which is deeper than just Colossal disliking their content since he gives valid reasoning behind it, but at the end of the day, it is still just an opinion on their content that Basher was doing at the time. As for the other videos, they have roots that go a little bit deeper. Jack Scalfani choked his son, Lion Maker of course had the pedophile allegations, The Amazing Atheist is a perpetual e-beggar, and FouseyTube's fake social experiments manipulate people's perceptions. All these videos highlight underlying issues with these YouTubers and how what they're doing or did should be seen as scummy. They have a deeper purpose than just Colossal's opinions on these people, and since they have this more objectively morally wrong thing that they're doing, people can kind of sort of rally around it, and it allows Colossal's points against them to be stronger, and for people to agree with him since these people are doing something that can almost universally be seen as wrong, if that makes sense. As for the benefits of Colossal taking his time, not only does it have an impact on the final product being more polished, it also benefits him in that he can be more selective with what he talks about. Colossal has his own full-time job with seemingly very little desire to actually turn YouTube into his career, and thus he's under no financial pressure to put out a video until he's found a suitable talking point as well as done the appropriate research and editing. Whereas other YouTubers with a similar subscriber count have already made the leap to full-time, meaning that if they want to get paid, then they have to talk about something this week. The next thing I want to talk about is Colossal's appearance on Baited and how I think it affected his reputation. Baited was a hugely successful podcast, not just for the commentary community, but on YouTube in general. And of course, along with that came a lot of exposure for Colossal, a lot more influence in the community, and a lot of people now viewing Colossal as an inspiration, as Baited is a key factor in the huge resurgence of podcasts over the past few months. But outside of the influence that the podcast gave to Colossal just for being on something so successful, the cast, and more specifically Keemstar, is what I think really pushed Colossal into this respected role. So if you've never watched Baited, I don't really know how you got here, but regardless, if you've never seen it, the podcast was generally Colossal and Keemstar arguing about something and Tommy C being the intermediary. Now, Keemstar, as I'm sure the majority of you know, is basically seen as the high villain of YouTube by a lot of people, especially in the earlier days of Baited. So since you have Keemstar being the villain of the podcast, clashing with Colossal, then of course that naturally associates Colossal with being the virtuous hero. And since people already have this pre-existing disdain for Keemstar, when the two clash, people see it as Colossal the hero versus Keemstar the villain. Especially when you have the commentary community, people who already actively dislike Keemstar and like Colossal, pushing Keemstar more into that role, which leads me into my third point, Colossal and the commentary community. Now this point especially I find interesting because Colossal has a lot of ties to a lot of people on YouTube. He's worked with everyone from iDubbbz.
Today on the National Geographic Channel, we are going to explore the nutting habits of the giant panda.
To Leech Live.
I'm here with the clown from the Baited podcast. Colossal is crazy.
Hello, pleasure to be here. Why are you on the hook? I don't get that one.
And while this gives him less time to actually focus on his own channel, the amount of connections that he's made is in a way more beneficial in terms of his influence. He's helped out a lot of people in the commentary community, from Detective Deckard.
I got noticed because Colossal retweeted my Colossal video. No, he liked my Colossal video. That's literally why.
To the members of Hot Wet Soup.
Zaptai, I helped him out before he even made his first video. And Elvis and yourself, Bionic Pig, have both been featured in one of my videos. A shout out. Now, did you give something to my non-existent Patreon for me to do this?
And he's even helped out someone like Dead on Dave by adding him to the Catch 33 podcast. But the point I'm trying to make is that Colossal has a hand in a lot of things, especially in the commentary community, making connections, helping people out, and collaborating on projects. So when something comes up involving him, such as the ending of Baited, there are very few people willing to even consider the possibility that less than 100% of the blame could be on Keemstar's shoulders. Because who are the people on YouTube who are going to be talking about an event like this? The commentary community. And the majority of the bigger commentary channels are all already so far in Colossal's corner that when an issue like this arises, 9 times out of 10 they're going to be taking Colossal's side because they know him and he's helped them all out in the past. And the audience kind of gets a respect by proxy effect since anything involving Colossal will already have that slant. Now that's not to say that he was in the wrong with that situation or any situation that I can think of off the top of my head, but it is just an example. Anyways, that's the video, guys. Like it, don't like it, let me know. I made this video because I think that it's interesting. The amount of respect that Colossal was kind of accrued while he was on Baited, I think was only really rivaled by someone like iDubbbz, and if you don't believe me, then listen to what Colossal said Sky Williams told him.
Sky Williams is trying to explain to me how I am the most dangerous person on YouTube at the moment. He's trying to explain this to me. Like, I am a threat. I am to be feared. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm a fucking clown, Sky.
Now, obviously, everything I've said is just a theory. There's no real way to quantify how Colossal got the level of respect that he has, but there is something that kind of supports what I said about the Baited thing in a way. Because after Baited ended, and now that the entire fiasco is dead, I do feel like Colossal has lost some of the clout that he had, at least on the surface of what I can see. But that could just be my perception of the matter. As for the question of, is Colossal overrated? I don't know. Formulate your own opinion. I certainly don't think he's some YouTube god, but he is a very good content creator. Shark pride for life, bruh.